A new rumor suggests that Sony could be selling the film rights to Spider Man back to Disney, which would open up a whole new can of worms for the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jacob Berry. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast, where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and if you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. Okay, so I'm going to give you some spoiler warnings because I'm going to talk about spoilers for some movies that are old, but some are new, so I wanted to bring that in. Also, I'm discussing a rumor. I'm saying it's a rumor. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm just talking about rumors because they're fun to talk about. That's it. I'm a little late to the game on this. I know others have covered this topic. They've done a fantastic job doing it, but I wanted to wait and see what happened because this is just a rumor, and I guess enough time has gone by where I think, okay, it's still rumor status. Nothing has really been confirmed. So as of the recording of this video, there have been no new developments that I know of. Now, I touched on this in my video about Kraven the Hunter ending the Sony Spider-Man universe, which should actually be called the Venomverse because Spider-Man was never introduced and the first Venom movie introduced it. Now, the original plan for the Sony Spider-Man universe was connected to the Amazing Spider-Man 2. And what was supposed to happen was at the end, you saw the Rhino get teased, you saw Dr. Octopus's mechanical arms, and you saw the Vulture's wings. Now, Green Goblin and Electro and the Lizard had already been introduced. So basically, there's this character. He's actually not from the comics. He's actually from a series of Spider-Man novels, I believe called Revenge of the Sinister Six trilogy. He's called the Gentleman. And he's kind of like a mastermind akin to the Kingpin. No one really knows a lot about him. And he basically gathers the Sinister Six and forces them to fight Spider-Man. And I say forces because they don't really want to work for him, but they do want to work with him to fight Spider-Man, but they're kind of mad that he has to be their boss, basically. What was going to happen was it was going to be connected to Spider-Man 2, and then they were going to get their own movie, which was going to be them facing Null. Now, when Spider-Man 2 didn't do so well at the box office, they decided to just reboot it and kick it off with Venom. And Venom, his origin is very tied to Spider-Man. However, he has enough comic book lore where you could sustain his own movies. The other villains do not. Madam Web and Blood Spider, I guess, they do not have it. Morbius, definitely not. Kraven the Hunter, definitely not. Do not have enough lore to sustain a whole franchise of movie, maybe one movie, but of course Sony didn't handle them very well. So they ended up being goofy in movies that you could laugh at, but not with. That is sort of the case, at least with Madam Web and Morbius. I haven't seen Kraven the Hunter as of the recording of this video. I do plan on watching it so I can review it. I've reviewed all the Venomverse movies. Might as well not stop at Kraven, right? I've not seen Venom The Last Dance either. Do plan on seeing that as well. I loved Venom, and I loved Venom Let There Be Carnage. I know I get criticism for that. Get over it. I think they're good movies. Don't like the others, at least as far as the ones I have seen as of the recording of this again. What does that mean? Because now this has started this rumor, and at first it kind of just existed on X, the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, but it has since grown. It's been on Instagram. I've seen it in what you might call nerd media outlets. I've seen sort of the corporate press also grab onto this. The access media is definitely going around this, but it's just a rumor. Sony nor Disney has confirmed this. So what would that look like? Basically, it would be Disney would just pay off the rest of the licensing that Sony has, maybe even pay it back, and also cover perhaps some of the box office leftovers from Madam Web, Morbius, and Kraven the Hunter to help Sony out. And then they would also get the toy rights back. Now, don't get confused, as Midnight's Edge had pointed out in their video, Sony doesn't have the video game rights to Spider-Man. That's Insomniac Games. Sony is just working with them so that it can be a PlayStation exclusive for a while. So just so you know, They don't actually have the video game rights. That's Insomniac. Now, back to the movie rights. So it would just mean that they would have all that backlog to work with. So you get all these other cool Spider-Man characters that can be brought in an MCU context. Now, Sony doesn't have to do this. He could just let Disney have full reign, and then he just has to cash the checks. That's free money right there. That's what I would do if I was him. I would say, yeah, go for it. You have free reign over Spider-Man. You just pay us the licensing fee. I'm just going to cash those checks. That's free money for Sony, and possibly means when he's ready to retire, he gets a massive golden parachute. That's what that looks like and sounds like to me. But just for argument's sake, if this rumor is true, that means Disney can build out a bigger Spider-Man presence in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. As the MCU is right now, I'm not sure that's a good thing. Kevin Feige has let identity politics infect the MCU with all their titles, with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Agatha All Along, all these upcoming films, She-Hulk, the Marvels, have all been infected with these sort of identity politics, and it's driving the fans crazy. So I'm not really sure if I trust an NCU still led by Kevin Feige to do good on a character like, say, Morbius. Now, the film might be better in quality compared to the Sony one. I mean, all you can do is go from that performance, but that doesn't mean it's going to work and blend in perfectly. It could end up being another Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. So better, but still not good, if that makes sense. One of the things I have noticed too is there's a lot of rumors floating around Disney because now they're suddenly finding themselves with more freedom with Spider-Man. So there's a rumor going around that they're dropping Zendaya from the upcoming college trilogy. So we had the Home trilogy, which was Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home, and they're going to introduce a college trilogy, which will be Sinister. So it'll build up to a final battle with the Sinister Six, at least introduced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I guess that's Mysterio, that's Vulture, Scorpion is teased, Shocker. I have a feeling Prowler will be involved somehow. And then, of course, I've also heard that Venom could be introduced in this. And I would like to see that. I would love to see Tom Hardy or a variant of Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock fight Spider-Man. That would be fantastic and really cool. All that to say, I think that this rumor is possible, but I honestly think that the Sony CEO, he's fine letting Disney have free reign with Spider-Man and then cash in those free checks because he's not interested in superhero movies. He wants to make dramas. He wants to focus on Sony's own catalog of characters. He is backing away from that completely. I've actually heard Amy Pascal is completely out of a job now. She'll probably still have some sort of attachment to the Tom Holland films as they stand right now, but she's moving on to Netflix. Apparently, Greta Gerwig has tapped her to help with the Narnia series, which that will be a disaster. Avi Arad, he's a good businessman, but he needs to move on. He's clearly lost touch with the fans if these movies are of any interest. I don't know where that means for potential Spider-Man movies. Like I said, these are all rumors. But again, I don't trust Disney with handling it. So what would I have done better? Well, I've said this in the Craven movie. If I had been in charge of Sony and I had seen that it was not working, I would have right away stepped in before Morbius even got out and said, listen, this isn't working. We need to introduce our Spider-Man. We could introduce Miles Morales. We could introduce Ben Reilly. Anything to, if you're worried that it would be, if you're worried it would be too similar to the MCU, we'll introduce Miles Morales or we'll introduce Ben Reilly and we'll just go from there. That'll be our Spider-Man. That's what they should have done. They didn't do that. And so now they're in this entanglement. Personally, I don't think Sony is going to sell the rights to Spider-Man fully back to Marvel Studios or Disney. Like I said, I think the CEO, he's just going to let them have free reign, but he's going to cash those sweet, sweet, sweet royalty checks. And then he can use that money to make a movie with a Sony property. That's my take on it. As for the rumors about Zendaya not coming back and then wanting to focus on Gwen Stacy, that's certainly a possibility. But again, I don't really trust Disney to handle it the way they've been handling the MCU. It's not looking too good, and I'm not really seeing a change of the guard other than Deadpool and Wolverine, which was sort of an outlier, not really a sign of things to come. If you liked that video, be sure to give it a like, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment and tell me what you think, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. Head on over to my website, StudioJakeMedia.com, where I've got reviews and commentary on all things pop culture. You can sign up for free, and best of all, there are no ads. Just use your email address or the WordPress app, and you can get updates on everything that I do over there. I really appreciate it. If you want to support my channel, head to my locals community. The link is in the description of the video. You can sign up for a monthly subscription, or you can send me tips for articles I post there, including ones that are exclusive just for my locals community. All right, you can also check out my novels. I've got 4. I've got Cacophony, a supernatural thriller. I've got the 7 Royal series with book 1, All Good Things, and book 2, Breaking the Stars. It's part of a trilogy that I'm calling the Dark Army trilogy. Number 3 will come out in 2025. I'm really looking forward to that one. And of course, I've got my latest fantasy romance novella, Blessed Child. It's about courage under fire, and I really think you will enjoy it. So head on over, pick 1 or all 4 up, and leave me a 5-star review. It really helps out small indie creators like myself. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.
Cause I've been living life right like I